Skinny fat. That's our topic for discussion today. What is skinny fat? What are some of the signs and symptoms of skinny fat? Why is it important to know about this? And what can you do to tackle this problem? I'm Dr. Amina, a physician and health coach, and I help you achieve ultimate health and vitality with simple lifestyle practices. Let's dive right in. So the rave lately has been obesity and all the new drugs to treat obesity, with not much mention about the diet, simple diet and lifestyle changes that can be adopted to help tackle the whole weight problem. So while the rave has been obesity, ignored is this situation or condition of skinny fat. What is skinny fat? I'm going to tell you some of the signs and symptoms of skinny fat for you to be able to identify if it's possible that you could be skinny fat. We're going to start with symptoms. So essentially for skinny fat, if you are experiencing that, it's possible that you are generally low on energy. Very low on energy, generally speaking, not much vitality and vigor. Additionally, it could be that you get hungry very quickly. Always find that you're hungry and you have to eat. And when you eat within an hour and a half or 2 hours, you feel as if you're totally starving once again. You could be jittery, tremulous, even sweaty sometimes. And then the third symptom is that it could be that you are waking up in the middle of the night with these similar feelings of jitteriness or extreme hunger, or maybe it's just panic, like you wake up with these panic attacks, maybe sweats, and the way you get yourself better is to go and drink some juice or eat a little something. And essentially these symptoms are all symptoms of low blood sugar. Your blood sugar is going low after your meals because of what it is you're eating. You're eating foods that are causing a dramatic, pretty significant sudden rise in blood sugar. And in response to that significant rise, your body is working overtime to bring it back down to normal. And instead of normal, it actually drops to low levels. And that is what triggers this weakness or jitteriness or tremulousness or even a feeling of panic. And then you have to rush and go and eat something again to feel better. And then this is a vicious cycle that goes on throughout the day and even into the night. And it can vary depending on what it is you're eating. And people who suffer from this problem will notice differences depending on what they eat. If they eat a bigger meal that it's more fatty or has more protein, they will notice that, oh, I don't feel so badly. I can go for longer without having this jittery type of feeling. So those are the main symptoms of skinny fat. Now moving on to signs, I'm going to break the signs down into what you can see externally and then signs when you measure your blood tests in the lab. So in terms of signs, the obvious one, generally speaking, is that you have a bit of a paunch or a big belly. To make it a little more objective or scientific, basically the circumference of your waist approaches the circumference of your hips. So generally speaking, the waist is supposed to be quite a bit smaller than the hips. But once the waist size expands, and it's to the point where roughly speaking, it should be less than 35 inches for women. 35 inches for women and less than 40 inches for men, generally speaking. Of course, most women maybe would have it less than 35. But anyway, roughly speaking, if it's more than 35 inches for a woman, it's sort of getting up there. And if it's more than 40 inches for a man, it's definitely getting up there. But since that's a rough number, it's better to compare it as a ratio with the hip circumference. And if you get waist circumference over hip circumference and it's greater than 0.8 to 0.85 for women or greater than 0.9 for men, then it's really getting to be too high. And a high waist circumference or waist size is an indication that you may have excess fat being stored within the abdominal cavity and in the organs, particularly the liver. So that is one of the obvious signs of skinny fat. Now, another sign, extending off that, is that your muscle mass is a bit low. So your limbs may be a bit on the thin side. Now, you can be thin, but there's some amount of tone, like you can tell that there's some muscle there. Maybe there's not much fat, but there's muscle. But with skinny fat, it's possible that the muscles are almost sort of wasted. Just very, not much tone, not much definition, I suppose you can say. A classic example of this is somebody who suffers from alcohol use disorder. That's the, appropriate name for that. Somebody who drinks a lot of alcohol. So these men, because it's usually men, but it could be women too, but would have these sort of rather big bellies, but then very thin limbs. They might have a bit of a pudgy face as well, but it's mainly the big bellies. Now, sometimes the big belly might be because there's excess fluid. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about before that, when it's just excess fat, because in these cases, the alcohol is metabolized, it's like empty calories, and it ends up being converted to fat by the liver, in the liver. Okay, so that's a classic sort of appearance of skinny fat, where there's this big belly and then very thin limbs, low muscle mass, low muscle bulk. And in terms of the signs now, when you do your blood test, actual signs on the lab results, you can see that the triglyceride level is high. Triglycerides are one of the bad types of cholesterol that may be high, which is sometimes an indication generally of excess sugar consumption, because that excess sugar gets converted to fat, triglycerides, by the liver, in the liver. And then one of the liver enzymes, ALT, alanine transaminase, that could be high as well in skinny fat, and it's because the liver is starting to get a bit inflamed because of it being overly congested with fat. And so you might see that indication that there's inflammation in the liver. And then the last sign that you might see on the blood test is that the blood sugar levels are high, particularly the fasting blood sugar, or this other blood test called the hemoglobin A1C, or glycated hemoglobin, which is gives an average of blood sugar readings over the preceding 3-month period. And it's a bit more of an accurate test than blood sugar, because a single blood sugar reading can vary depending on what you had to eat the night before. But because that hemoglobin A1C, or glycated hemoglobin test, is an average of the preceding 3 months, it gives a more accurate picture of what has been going on with your blood sugar levels. If you want to go even further, this test is not commonly done, although it is getting more available. It's that blood insulin level, and particularly the fasting insulin level. And it might be in these cases that the fasting insulin is high because blood sugar levels go up so frequently throughout the day that the body is now starting to get numb to the effects of insulin. So the insulin does not work as much anymore, and so the body has to produce even more of it to force it to work so that the blood sugar levels come down. So essentially, these are the symptoms and signs of skinny fat. Essentially, it is an indication that you may not be able to get to your fat stores efficiently. And so, one of the phrases for that is fat adapted. You're not fat adapted. You're not able to quickly get to fat for energy about 2 hours after you eat. And so that's why within 1.5, 2 hours after eating, you're getting all tremulous, because your body has gotten spoiled by all the sugar, easy access to sugar, because you're always having something sweet, starch. So there's easy energy coming in constantly. So your body never gets a chance to take a break and then access the energy stores, which are in the form of fat. And so that is the problem with skinny fat. It can be an indication that you're not fat adapted, or another fancy word for that is being metabolically flexible. Your body is not able to quickly shift from burning glucose for energy to burning fat for energy. And so what you have to do is to sort of retrain your body to become efficient again at getting to its fat stores. I can do another video on that, basically explaining how to become fat adapted. If you'd like to see a video on that, put it in the comments. Otherwise, I am hosting a challenge, Eat More, Weigh Less challenge. It's a 5-day challenge, which is going to start on the first Monday in April. And this challenge is, I thought of it because of all the people who have come across, all my patients and so on, who I've come across, and even clients as well, struggling with the whole issue of losing weight. And then even now thinking about all the people who are going towards these new medications, which can come with potential side effects, rather than adopting lifestyle and dietary changes for more sustained weight loss. Most people think that losing weight is about restricting and eating less and basically being miserable, but simply to lose weight, you just need to know the nutritious foods to eat. You need to eat more nutritious foods and more varied meals so that your body gets what it needs, you feel great, you have all the energy in the world, and you look great at the end of it. So the link to my challenge should be down in the description. So click it, check it out, and I look forward to seeing you on the Eat More Way Less Challenge, live challenge for 5 days. And thanks for watching. And if you found this video helpful, share with others that you think might find it helpful. Bye.